Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about delves, and more specifically we're going to go through a complete guide on how to gear through delves in Season 1 of The War Within. Of course, in Season 1 of The War Within, delves will be expanding up to Tier 11, and in this video we're going to break down all of the item levels, everything you need to know to get the highest item level you possibly can through delves in Season 1. But before we jump into that, guys, I do want to shout out my Twitch, twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft, War Within, all that good stuff, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. Right, so yes, Season 1 of The War Within begins extremely soon on September 10th or 11th, depending on your region. And with this new season, obviously comes Mythic Plus and Raids, and now it brings new difficulties to delves. But let's start off with a little rundown on what a delve is. So if you haven't been diving into delves already, they are currently available in Tier 1 to 3 on the pre-season patch. Now, delves are designed to be a new pillar of World of Warcraft gameplay. They have no timers, no restrictions. You can do them alone or up to 5 players with an NPC companion. These are inspired by things like islands and Torghast and scenarios, and it basically feels like a solo dungeon at times if you are going in by yourself. There's various respawn points throughout the delves and powers and different fun little things that you can do to make them feel a little bit different from a dungeon. And as mentioned, there are different tiers of difficulties. These do go up to 11. And as you probably know, Tier 1 to 3 is now available with early access and launch. And then with the start of this season, Tier 4 to 11 will be available. To unlock the next tier of delves, you will need to complete the previous one with revives remaining. Yes, you do get revives similar to Torghast, but it's not as punishing. Revives do start at Tier 4, and you'll have 5 in total. Losing all your revives in a run doesn't end your run, but it does affect the rewards at the end, and all of these unlocks are across all 12 delves. So if you unlock Tier 5 on one delve, that'll unlock it across all of the delves. So yeah, just a little rundown on what delves are and the difficulties. When I start using different words and things, maybe it'll make a bit more sense, but I'll try and explain it the best I can. So let's talk about gearing. So there are 2 different types of delves that you'll see on the map. You have your regular delve, which will just be the normal entrance on the map, and then there'll be ones that are bountiful. Now, I'll go a little bit more into detail with Bountiful Delves later on in the video, but you do get 4 of these per day, 1 for each zone. But yeah, again, we'll talk about that in a bit. Let's talk about regular delves. These are going to be the ones that are going to be available all the time that you can just run endlessly if you really want to. Now, all 11 tiers of regular delves do drop Valor Stones and Crests. Now, the specific crest type does depend on the tier. So Tier 1 to 5 will be dropping Weathered Harbinger Crests. Tier 6 to 7 will be dropping Carved Harbinger Crests, and Tier 8 to 11 will drop Runed Harbinger Crests, which is the highest crest that you can obtain through delves. All tiers will also drop Valor Stones, and the amount of Valor Stones will vary on the difficulty of the delve, capping out at Tier 8, of course. Now, if you're a bit confused by crests and Valor Stones, they're essentially items to upgrade your gear. This is a system that came in Dragonflight. It's a little confusing, but once you kind of get your hands on it, it does make a lot more sense. Now, these regular delves are repeatable, and you can keep doing them as much as you like, and they do have gear drops. However, the gear does cap out at item level 554 at Tier 3. So any other delve you do, even in like a Tier 11, will still drop that item level 554, which honestly is not very good. It's something you can get right now in the game, and it's just not going to be worth your time. So really, the reason you'll do these regular delves is just going to be for Valor Stones, Crests, and of course the cosmetics, which do drop. So let's talk about where the real gear comes from, and that is Bountiful Delves. So Bountiful Delves are a type of delve which rotate every single day. These contain a extra chest at the end of them, which requires a restored coffer key to open. Now, restored coffer keys are a new currency which have come in The War Within, and are rewarded from a bunch of things like weekly activities. You can get different shards from world quests. Once you get 100 shards, you get another key. You get them from renown. You could even purchase them when you've advanced enough through your delver's journey, which is like the season progression for delves. And you could also get them from the World Soul Memory event, which is kind of a gameplay loop that you'll do where you get an item from the end of a Bountiful Delve, you use that item to be able to farm shards and Valor Stones, and then obviously you get another key from that and rinse and repeat. I do have a full video on the World Soul Memory event as a gameplay rotation, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below. But yeah, essentially you've probably got a few of these keys already, and these are used to open chests inside Bountiful Delves. So Bountiful Delves will be marked on the map as a glowing entrance, and when you go to the entrance of the delve, it will also have a golden portal, so you can't miss it when it is bountiful. Now, completing a Bountiful Delve does consume it, so you want to be doing this on the highest tier that you can possibly do for the best rewards, because if you do it on a tier 1, it will consume it and you won't be able to do it again. Now, as mentioned, these are 4 per day, so you can wipe the map of them per day, and then the next day you come along, there'll be 4 more ready for you to do. So there's going to be a lot of these for you to do, and you're going to need a lot of keys. Once you complete a Bountiful Delve, you'll have 2 different types of chests. You'll have a blue chest, which actually drops the same items from the green chest, so you don't need any keys to open this, and this will obviously drop various crests and values of Valor Stones, and exactly the same as the chest from the regular delve. The other chest, and the more important chest, is the Bountiful chest. Now, this will require a coffer key to open, as mentioned, and this will have different levels of gear depending on the tier you do. So if you do a Bountiful Delve on tier 1, this will drop 561 Explorer gear, Tier 2 is 564 Explorer gear, Tier 3 is 571 Adventurer gear, Tier 4 is 577 Adventurer gear, Tier 5 is 584 Veteran gear, Tier 6 is 590 Veteran gear, Tier 7 is 597 Champion gear, and then the item level caps out at Tier 8 to 11 at 603 Champion gear. So if you're just running Bountiful Delves and you want the best loot possible, you want to be doing these on a Tier 8. Tier 9, 10, and 11 are simply just like cosmetic and achievement tiers, so I wouldn't bother too much with that. Tier 8 is where your gear is going to be capping out at 603 Champion, which is actually pretty high. I believe that's about normal raid. It's worth noting as well, items from Tier 5 to 11 can also be catalyzed into tier set. So once the catalyst is active and you have charges, you can change that into the new tier set of Season 1, which is fantastic. And a final thing worth noting on Bountiful Delves is that if you lose all of your revives in the run, you won't have the Bountiful chest at the end. As mentioned, you get 5 revives per run, so make sure you're not dying as much as possible, because yeah, you'll lose the loot at the end, unfortunately. Now that's all fine and good. You can get your 603 gear on your own if you really wanted to through Bountiful Delves, just make sure you got enough keys. But that's not it for gearing through delves. The final piece of the puzzle here is the Great Vault. This is where your absolute highest item level of gear is going to be coming from if you are exclusively gearing through delves. So, per week you have 3 chances of gear. There are 3 boxes on the new world row on the Great Vault. To fill these out, you do not need to do Bountiful Delves exclusively. Credit towards this is given from any type of delve that you do, which is amazing. And even if you took 4 hours and ran out of revives, as long as you complete the delve, you will get the credit towards your Great Vault. The first one is to complete 2 delves, the second is to complete 4, and then the final one is to complete 8 delves. So what you want to be doing is completing 8 delves per week on the highest difficulty you can do, capping out at Tier 8. Don't do Tier 9, 10, or 11. Those will just count as a Tier 8 on your vault. So the items which are actually rewarded on this row are just the higher item level versions of the items from delves, which are just kind of regular gear, but there is also a chance at tier set, so you can get some tier set from this row as well, which is fantastic. And much like the loot from Bountiful Delves, this can also be catalyzed into the new tier set. So for the Great Vault, if you're completing tier 1s each week, this will give you a 584 veteran piece. If you're completing tier 2s, this will also be a 584 veteran piece. If you're completing tier 3s every week, that will be 587 veteran. If you're doing tier 4s, this will be 597 champion. If you're completing tier 5s, this will be 603 champion, which is actually the item level that we're capping out in Bountiful Delves. If you're completing tier 6 every week, your vault will have 606 champion gear. If you're completing tier 7, this will give you some 610 hero gear. And if you're completing a bunch of tier 8 delves every week for your Great Vault, this will cap out at 616 hero, which is about mid-heroic boss, which is incredible for solo gearing. I think it's the highest you could ever get through solo gearing. So really, if you're not confident doing a tier 8, tier 7 will be just as fine because it will be the hero track, so you can just upgrade that if you really want to, but you definitely want to be doing a tier 8 at the absolute maximum to get the highest level of gear there. Another part of delve gearing are hidden caches, so these are a delver's bounty item. Now these have been popping up in preseason, which seems like a bug, but yeah, essentially these are super rare drops from any tier of delve. Now these used to function a little bit different on beta, but it looks like it has changed. So yeah, these are now a rare drop. Now it doesn't seem to be capped, but as mentioned, they are extremely rare. Getting a delver's bounty will give you an extra chest at the end of the tier that you looted it from. So if you got a delver's bounty from a tier 8, once you've activated it, your next tier 8 will have a hidden cache at the end of it. Now inside this hidden cache is a much higher item level that you would have got from a bountiful chest. The highest item you can get from a tier 8 hidden cache looks like it's going to be 610 hero, which is awesome. So if you get a bunch of these stocked up, you can get a bunch of 610 hero track gear from your tier 8. But of course, if these do drop in the lower tiers, you also get a higher item at the end there, which is awesome. So with all that being said, through the Great Vault, through Bountiful Delves, through everything, through different crests, valor stones, etc., what is the highest item level you can obtain through delves, potentially on your own or with a group? That is item level 619. Rey Mysterio, be proud. This is hero 4 out of 6, and this is equivalent to the last boss of Heroic. Yeah, that's insane. So getting to that item level will require you to get all of your items from the highest tier, the Great Vault, and then using the crests that you can obtain through delves to upgrade it. Now it is 4 out of 6 hero. You can go higher, but you will have to do Mythic Plus or Raid to get those extra crests, as those crests do not drop in delves. So 619 is pretty insane. Last boss Heroic through delves is absolutely incredible. It's going to take a little bit to get there, of course, but people will be gearing up to 603 champion pretty quickly through Bountiful Delves, especially in Heroic Week. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you're saving those keys for those tiers to unlock at the beginning of the season, because right now it's kind of a little bit of a waste to use them in tier 3s. You want to be saving those for your tier 8s. So yeah, there you go, guys. That is gearing through delves in season 1. Hopefully I explained it okay. Hopefully it makes a little bit of sense. Obviously you need a little bit of knowledge about the game to know what hero and champion and veteran and explorer and all that kind of, you know, the different gearing and stuff like that. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. But essentially the long short of it is do tier 8 Bountiful Delves as much as you possibly can and max out that vault every single week for the highest possible gearing. So yeah, very exciting times ahead. Potentially there will be some changes, but this is what it is like as of right now, as of the recording this video, just before season 1 of The War Within. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know down below if you're going to be gearing through delves. Will you be using it as your exclusive gearing method, or will it be just something you do on the side as well as raiding in dungeons? As for me, very much a solo player, so this is going to be my gearing method. This is why I wanted to make this video, just so I know the info going into it. So thank you very much for watching, guys. If you do like this video, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I'm also on Patreon and I'm on Twitter at MrGMYT, and I have a partner Discord channel as well. And as mentioned, I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft, War Within, patch 11.05 just hit the PTR, so we're going to be doing that too. Lots of fun over on Twitch. So if you want to check me out, guys, twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.